Welcome one, welcome all to Pit Road Productions. It is time once again for some Monday night racing. You know what time it is. It is the Podium 1 Fixed GT3 Series sponsored by RAFA Racing Club. Bringing it to you live here on the Pit Road Productions YouTube channel from virtual Montreal. We're racing at the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve for this round. A 40-minute race coming up that is sure to tickle your fancy for some GT3 action. It's myself, Reese Gardner, alongside Daniel Zippy Salmon in the comms box. Zippy also producing behind the scenes. Zippy, Montreal is a track that we should both be very familiar with, and I especially like seeing closed wheel cars going around it, even though it's usually an open wheel circuit.
Yeah, absolutely, Reese. It's a pleasure to be here at Montreal, despite the fact I'm over here in Nova Scotia. But I do actually have somebody who's about, I can say 25 feet from me, who has had the pleasure of being at the real Montreal Formula 1 circuit. Maybe I should interview her about it before I went live on the air. And I know she's going to give me a hard time for not mentioning that. But certainly it's a pleasure to be back. And there's definitely going to be a lot of passing opportunities in the right places. Certainly some of this track a little bit less forgiving. But the Wall of Champions definitely known to take a few victims at times. And indeed, we have indeed seen multiple casualties there in the form of massive wrecks. So certainly going to be interesting there. But that's Montreal. Let's take a look at where we've been as well as where we're going.
So, first round of the season was Road America. We went to Laguna Seca for round 2. Then Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez for the third round. Sonoma and Road Atlanta rounding out the first half of the season. A fantastic sequence of tracks there. And it only continued going to Daytona and VIR over the last couple of weeks. Circuit Gilles Villeneuve playing host to this round. Only 2 rounds to go after this one. We go to Indianapolis and Sebring to close out the 10-round season at the start of December. Oh my goodness, what a fantastic circuit this is. No elevation change to speak of for round 8, but Montreal more than makes up for it in terms of challenge. It's basically one chicane after another, separated by fast-flowing sections and straight-line flat-out blasts. I love it.
Yeah, it's an absolute belter. Not only that, it's good to see a Canadian track here on the circuit and indeed getting a little bit of screen time, ladies and gentlemen. But before we get into that, Reese, what are we feeling? Points first or sponsors?
I think points. We can do sponsors in the warm-up as we usually do. So looking at the championship standings coming into this round, Joshua Wilford has creeped back into the championship lead, but Miguel Colon is on an absolute tear right now. He's won the last couple of races running, and he is slowly getting that championship gap down. Artis Veldra, last season's champion, is still somewhat in touch. Only 2 points ahead, though, of Hunter McCall, and Dalton Oxborough is rounding out your top 5 there, just another 7 points back. Doug Sorrentino managing to grab some excellent results over the course of this season as well. He'll be shadowing that top 5. That's the gold standings. In the silver standings, Pierce Fox sits on 277 points ahead of Reed Lincoln and Charles Ayres. Jamil Gummer trailing behind just by 8 points there from the top 3, with Kevin Rosario, Matt Hollinger, Chris Brassetti, Brent Souza, Kerry Corcoran, and Ben Mielek rounding out your top 10 in the silver points. And in bronze, we have Jack Minter continuing his pretty dominant run. Dustin Warren and Tommy Poulter, meanwhile, they're only separated by 2 points for the runner-up spot. With only 3 rounds of the championship remaining to run, things are going to start getting intense there for second place in bronze, and whether or not Jack Minter will be able to hold on to his overall pace advantage, I suppose, over the rest of the bronze championship competitors. A lot of interesting scenarios to be going on in this championship, Zippy.
Oh, absolutely. And certainly these guys are currently out doing some qualifying laps. As ladies and gentlemen, right now at the top of the food chain, it is your championship leader for gold, Joshua Wilford, currently out there. And you see a couple of drivers there doing trying to get a little bit of a draft, but it does look like he is indeed going to be getting ready to start a lap very shortly as he makes his way down towards the Wall of Champions.
Very good opportunity to go on an onboard lap around Montreal with our championship leader. So out of the final chicane, onto the start finish straight for Joshua Wilford. Turn 1, is quite a difficult one to get right. You've got to pick your braking point and carry as much speed as you can through the left-hander, but slow right down for this right-hand hairpin. Try and stick tight on the exit. It'll get you a good run down this short blast to the first of many chicanes we have on this lap, all over the curve. On the way in and on the way out, and this is where the walls really close in. Montreal, a temporary circuit. It is permanently built, but only used for racing a couple of days a year. Second of these chicanes then has a very fast exit. You can get on the power, very nicely there, as that was, I believe, not Sorrentino, but Jack Minter potentially, that spun around there in the Porsche. After the next straight, then the second last of our chicanes, it's another fast flick. You've got to be careful of those white anti-cut curbs beyond the red and white striped curbs. If you run too far over them, you will receive a brutal slowdown. Montreal is famous for its brutal slowdowns. Then L'Epingle, the hairpin. You've got to make sure you straighten out the car as quickly as possible, and make sure that you're smooth on the power, because you've got this long back stretch here beckoning. This is going to be a great slipstream opportunity. A pit stop is going to be required during this race, and pit entry is right here, and you end up braking much later for pit entry than you do for the final chicane. Big thanks to Joshua Wilford for demonstrating that for us. That's going to be a point of contention in the race to come, Zippy. If you're in a pack and you need to pit and you've got cars in front of you, you're either going to have to compromise your pit entry, slow down a bit earlier than you'd like, cost yourself some time, or put yourself and everyone else in danger by going past them on the way into the pits.
Yeah, definitely the pit exit here has been known to be a little bit haphazard here. See Dalton Oxborough taking the Wall of Champions. What an absolutely fantastic job he just did of that as well. If we're going to give a bit of a shout out here to Dalton Oxborough as well. He's been working very hard behind the scenes for what's going into the prep for next season, ladies and gentlemen. So definitely, if you see him on track, show him some love, ladies and gentlemen. He's not even going to get to race next season. He will indeed be involved in race control, and as well as that, he's been doing some absolutely, I gotta say, astonishing promotional materials in ready for next season, ladies and gentlemen. I do understand it's going to be 3 classes. It may indeed be TCR, GT4, and GT3, and you won't just be able to go in and just go, oh, I want to drive GT3. You've got to work your way up. That is what they've got in mind, ladies and gentlemen. But if you want to be involved, now is the time to say so. We'd love to have you here on Pit Road Productions. Have a good couple of these shows going, and indeed, if you want to see yourself up on the big screen, that is one surefire way of doing it. Nobody can buy these fantastic Podium 1 trophies, or indeed the fantastic Podium 1 sim racing gloves I've had the sheer pleasure of seeing so far.
Absolutely. That's some very interesting news for next season. And, well, continuing on here on Pit Road Productions, I'm sure I'll be very excited to see how that develops. Qualifying is over and we are in the warm-up, which means it's time to thank the sponsors, partners, and supporters of this league. First of all, at VPG Sim, they don't just build equipment. They translate years of motorsport expertise from BF1 systems directly into your hands. Their products are engineered using knowledge driven by professional drivers, the ones who push the limits. It's about that weight, that feedback, that raw, uncompromising connection to the machine. It's from track to sim. VPG are bringing the authentic race feel home.
Well, crafted in Wisconsin, Carbliss offers a line of premium canned cocktails designed for drinkers who refuse to compromise on flavor or fitness goals. Ladies and gentlemen, why compromise? Have both. These ready-to-drink options featuring vodka, rum, and tequila bases for classic drinks like margaritas and mojitos are built on a simple promise. Bold flavor with zero compromises. There you go. The proof is in the pudding. Every 12-ounce can is 0 sugar, 0 carbs, gluten-free, and just 100 calories. That absolutely sounds fantastic. If any of you guys want to send me a sample, by all means, I will happily have a good time on testing that product. I mean, you know, if you want us to promote it, we've got to test it. But saying that, it may be a little bit more difficult for our next sponsor here, Reese.
Yeah, and I think Carbliss would probably bulk at the shipping cost to Australia as well. Firm Serpollet, owned by league racer Simon Carter and his brothers Martin and Serge, made a strategic shift to exclusively breeding purebred Holstein cattle. This decision was aimed at improving the genetics of their then 60-head Serpollet herd. The strategy has proven highly successful and continues to yield excellent results for their young herd today. last but not least, Zippy.
Podium 1 Racing is a Nashville, Tennessee-based builder of turnkey racing and flight simulator systems. They offer premium, ready-to-use rigs that integrate high-end components such as Fanatec, Azatek, and cubic motion systems to meet the needs of serious racers and professional training environments. Ladies and gentlemen, we owe a lot to Podium 1, and I'm definitely very grateful to have them here on board as Pit Road Productions being their official broadcasting service. But I gotta say, check out their website, ladies and gentlemen. They are doing some Black Friday sales right now. There's some really nice goodies in there. Certainly there is a top-of-the-line shifter that I would very much like to play with. They do look like an absolute belter. I've heard some reviews about it as well. Don't ask me to name it, I'm not the man for that, but there is a man who is. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have any sim racing needs for Podium 1, reach out to CJ Conklin. He is a new employee there. He is an enthusiast, and I'm sure he'd be very happy to help you get into your new sim racing equipment.
Yes, indeed. Incredible stuff from Podium 1 for helping to put this series together. All of the partners and sponsors responsible for bringing this show to you today. And a big thanks to the whole crew for having us on at Pit Road Productions to bring you this fantastic action. We've been here for every round of this season, and every single round has been incredible in terms of action. It's certainly one of the most competitive series that I've had the pleasure of commentating, and we are getting ready now for everyone to pile into those first couple of turns at Montreal. Just a couple of minutes left in the warm-up, actually a minute and 15 seconds to be precise. Do you have any thoughts coming into this race, Zippy? What are you expecting?
I got a feeling we're going to see a little bit of chaos here today, as we're going to check out a couple of the driver cams. Ladies and gentlemen, that is a feature that we do indeed offer. It's actually exclusive to the Podium 1 broadcast right now, as Cairo Enz is going to be out there, and we're going to see a driver cam for him here very shortly. But I've got to say, absolutely a pleasure, ladies and gentlemen, to have these guys on board. And certainly, I've got to admit as well, it's one of those mixed feelings, ladies and gentlemen, where I find myself frequently wanting to get involved in the race, especially when they did Road Atlanta. Like, you guys know how much I love Road Atlanta, but certainly, you know, power to these guys. They definitely drive a lot better than me, and the racing, it shows that. I mean, every week we're spoiled. We're treated to fantastic battles without, and hoping to see Cairo Enz. He was saying, I was getting an update from Jake Enz, actually saying that the Aston has had some issues with the turbo fix and should be a little bit more manageable now. We'll have to wait and see.
All right. Well, we shall see indeed. Jason Hatcher, meanwhile, driving the Porsche, making his way out of the hairpin there at the end of the session. In just a few seconds' time, we're going to be seeing these drivers disappear like they've just been snapped out of existence by Thanos.
Boom.
Ah, that was pretty well timed. All right, done. Let's go through the grid in just a few moments' time here. Many cars involved, 37 drivers, starting with Joshua Wilford and Chris Crone putting himself second place. A fantastic qualifying performance there from Chris Crone. Reed Lincoln is going to start in third place and pole position in silver, with Artis Veldra alongside him on second row. Miguel Colon and Cairo Enz on row number 3. Amrit Vestrala and Dalton Oxborough are 7th and 8th. Then we have Kevin Rosario taking the second spot in silver, starting alongside Doug Sorrentino.
Yeah, good to see Doug Sorrentino actually qualifying. Certainly adds to the fun. But Ben Mellick, he's going to be there in P11 with Pierce Fox, your silver championship leader, in P12. Brian Zinn's there in 13th with Michael Clark in 14th. Matt Hollinger takes 15th with Dustin Moran. I believe that is the highest qualified bronze yet again by Dustin Moran. He's there in P16. Cody Hager takes 17th with Matt Jones alongside in 18th. And then rounding out your top 20 is Darwin Hanson alongside Tommy Polsey.
Yes, Tommy Bolte, their second in the bronze grid, with Michael Pacheco starting 21st alongside Jack Minter. Drew Martin and Andrew Garov are 23rd and 24th. Then we have Kerry Corcoran starting alongside Jamil Gummer. with John Hamrick and Jason Hatcher, along with Joshua Travis and Quinn Manders rounding out your top 30. Just a few more cars remaining. Joshua Travis, Callan Christian in 31st place alongside Philip Crane, Robert Bison Jr. and Richard Pettit sharing row number 17, and then Sean Phillips and CJ Conklin, our race administrator and league owner, in 35th and 36th. One more car to go, and that is Scheusler, Chris Scheusler, who is going to be starting back of the back there in his Porsche. Let's hope that they all have a clean run through the first lap, and we can have ourselves a fast, competitive, close race here. Wilford already on the tyre warm-up, and I'm checking these weather conditions. It's looking like a pretty cool day out there in virtual Montreal. 18 degrees Celsius air temperature, track temperature of only 21 degrees. So get those tyres heated up and up to pressure. You're going to be benefiting from a great amount of grip. Let's get ready to go here at Montreal. Wilford and Crone leading the way here out of the final chicane and getting up to speed as the green flag flies. We are away for round 8 of the Podium 1 Fixed GT3 Series, and Wilford will lead the way into turn 1 very nicely. The Mustang of Crone leaving a couple of car lengths on his way out of turn 2, and Artis Veldra managing to secure 3rd. Cairo Ends, meanwhile, making his way up to 4th in the first couple of turns. Miguel Colon trying his best to get up the inside of Reed Lincoln, but not happening for the moment as the field is starting to space out through the first half of the first lap. Doug Sorrentino having to go wide there through the fast right, with Dalton Oxborough unwilling to give him any inches here on the way halfway around the first lap. That's Ends that has spun Cairo out of the chicane. Cairo is unfortunately going to fall all the way to the back of the field. He is stuck in the middle of the track, but he's been hit. Oh dear. Oh, the drivers would have got plenty of advance warning that there was a car stopped there. Unfortunately, that has taken out Jason Hatcher. Quinn Manders as well, it seems. What exactly happened to Cairo?
Well, I got a feeling he got onto the power a little bit too quickly. I got to say, fair play to the drivers that did manage to make the avoidance there, and fair play to Cairo. He put the brakes on and he did not move, but it just got a little bit unfortunate there. One of the drivers, just lack of better words, they pretty much ate Cairo, and it's fair to say that is a absolutely catastrophic incident there. As a result, I already see 3 cars in the pits, 2 serving meatballs. Cairo, and sadly, that is not the result he was looking for today.
No, looks like John Hamrick also collected him there on the way through, which is unfortunate. Miguel Colon, meanwhile, passes Reed Lincoln, gets up into 5th place on the way out of turn 2, and Emrit Vestrala is going to take advantage of the off-rhythm machine of Reed Lincoln to try his best and get through. His fellow Mercedes not having the best of exits out of the first chicane there. Can he take advantage and move up the inside? Slightly defensive, or was that understeer from Reed Lincoln? God knows at this point. In these cars, and I mean, I drove my Mercedes GT4 at Montreal just yesterday. That fast right-hander, it's very easy to get understeer through there. F1 cars can take it flat out, but I'm not too sure about GTs.
Yeah, certainly there's not quite the same amount of aero, or not quite as nimble, but Reed Lincoln from Oasis Simsport, ladies and gentlemen, he's definitely got a defensive move going on, as for some reason Dodge are able to advertise a dart there in Montreal. You better say this track's not been updated for a while, as Matt Hollinger currently serving a slowdown, but fair play, the whole time that Reed Lincoln is defending, Miguel Colon is starting to pull away. He's made it up to a 2nd, but it looks like Doug Sorrentino now applying a good amount of pressure to the back of Pierce Fox, who's currently in P2 for the silver class.
Yes, indeed. Pierce Fox already making up 3 positions on the first lap thanks to the incident that we saw for Cairo Ends. It was a very interesting incident there for Cairo. It just looked like the car just gave up on him halfway out of the corner. Obviously, traction is difficult out of that chicane. I've certainly had plenty of experience with that.
Oh my gosh!
It looked like the car just snapped on him, which was weird. Tommy Poulter, meanwhile, trying his best to negotiate this fight here for the last few positions in the top 20. We've got Michael Pacheco ahead of him, and Darwin Hansen and Tucker Minter up ahead.
Oh, dear.
And looks like he half thought about a look, didn't he? But that's brought a lot of other drivers into touch on their way through the first chicane. That's very slow there for Jason Hatcher, who I believe has just made his way out of the pits after towing, and just behind him I see that Drew Martin has had a slide and collected the wall. He's managed to keep it rolling though.
Yeah, that's definitely a little bit unfortunate there, but I got a feel for Jason Hatcher. He did not get the race start he was looking for. We'll have a little bit of a chat with him in a short amount of time. There's Michael Pacheco taking a little bit of a defensive line, but right now Jamil Gummer is hot on pursuit. He's currently up 5 positions, ladies and gentlemen. He's not the hard charger, but he's fair play. He's giving it a good run for his money there, as himself, Tommy Poulter, and Andrew Garreau are all getting into the mix there, ladies and gentlemen. No, that's lap cars in the middle. My apologies.
Yes, indeed. Lap cars in the middle of this one. They've just come out of the pits as Garov collects the wall on the exit of the hairpin. It's a very wide exit to that hairpin, but you get a little bit of understeer on. You get on the power too early, and that wall will be right there to greet you. Tommy Polte is now falling under yet more pressure here from Jamil Gummer in that red Mustang all the way over the curbs, and looks like neither of them getting a slowdown there. You've got to be careful not to get too far onto those white anti-cut bumps that you see at the apexes of some of these corners. And Gummer will complete the move into turn 1.
Fair play by Gummer. Don't get me wrong, he's a silver class driver. He's trying to make his way forward and currently up 6 positions. As I have a quick look, actually, he is not the hard charger, ladies and gentlemen. That would be this gentleman, Robert Bison Jr. As we go on some camera there, gets a little bit of a wiggle, and Joshua Travis says thank you very much and puts that green and purple or pink, depends on what your color says, Porsche 911 up and ahead of him into P25 overall.
And it looks like another car spinning ahead of them. It's a very cold track here. It's Drew Martin, who it's pretty much the same location as last lap, that he's had some kind of problem with traction there already with it looks like the boot lid missing, and just getting on the power, it snapped on him. That's very similar to what happened to Cairo Ends on lap 1. So it's not just an issue for Cairo, it's an issue for everyone. I think the cold track temperatures mean that those rear tires, if they're not entirely up to temperature, you're going to have problems.
I've got a feeling we're about to have problems here, Reese, as this is going to be an absolute grudge match between these 3 drivers. Amrit Pastrana at the front of this pack in that AMG Mercedes. Pierce Fox right behind, and Kevin Rosario absolutely trying to chase him down. Don't get me wrong, Pierce Fox and Kevin Rosario both fighting in the Silver Championship, ladies and gentlemen. Amrit Pastrana in the gold. Right now, Reed Lincoln, though, currently in P5 overall for the silver. He's got about 3 cars between himself and Pierce Fox. All he's got to do is keep it in check and try and stay ahead of this further competition to try and accelerate his points lead in the championship.
Indeed, this is going to be a great opportunity for Reed Lincoln if things stay as they are, but considering the snaps that we've seen so far from a few drivers, I don't think anyone is safe. Montreal's a track where you have to be on your A game the whole way around. On board with Brian Zinn then, as he tries his best to chase down Ben Mielik and Dustin Warren for 11th position. And view on board from these cars, you really get that sense of the concrete canyon that Montreal is, all over the curbs, being very careful on the power out of here. The walls greet you so quickly on the exits of these turns.
Yeah, certainly you got to flirt with them, but you definitely don't want to get slapped by them. As right now, Brian's in. He's absolutely got a gorgeous paint. I got to say, I'm fond of the paint, ladies and gentlemen. It looks fantastic on the number 82 car, but he is indeed applying a good amount of pressure. And currently, he's not really doing well in class. He's P8 in the gold class. Cairo N sadly having that unfortunate incident on lap 1. Cold tires, Cairo. Cold tires, buddy. As indeed, it looks like there's going to be a move there. Potentially not, as these guys are getting backed up a little bit here. Behind, I believe that's Dustin Moore. It is indeed. That is your bronze class leader, who has a solid, absolutely fantastic there 6-car gap between himself and Jack Minter. Now, this could be absolutely huge for Warren in the championship standings as well.
Yeah, indeed it could. Reminder, if you're not familiar with the points format of this series, drivers are awarded points based on their overall finishing position. Points are not split between the classes. So if you're a bronze class driver and you have 5 gold and silver cars in between yourself and your next rival, then that's going to be a huge amount of points for you. The number 28 there, spinning Michael Pacheco around. It looks like Jamil Gummer collecting some strays there on his way through turn 2. Pacheco, unfortunately, down to 21st there. It was Darwin Hansen in the Mercedes that tapped him around there at turn 2. So an unfortunate coming together between those two. But we'll keep our eyes peeled on Pierce Fox and Kevin Rosario here. The yellow Mustang of Rosario on a bit of a recovery drive here at the moment, down 2 positions in the opening laps.
Well, I've got to say that it's battles happening for our ladies and gentlemen, as these two gentlemen are going side by side. Michael Clark, he's down an astonishing 13 positions. I'm not quite sure how he managed that, but right now, I've got to say, he is the first I've seen charge through the grid at the most potent times. Ladies and gentlemen, he has been the hard charger of the season. So he almost took over it after Doug Sorrentino decided to start qualifying. Certainly he started with that regime, but right now, Michael Clark applying more pressure now to the back of Joshua Travis. I have a quick through to see if we can figure out what happened to Clark, but fair to say, he's dropped back pretty heavy there in P27.
Yes, he's put on some really good drives in that Lamborghini, but Montreal doesn't look like it's going to be one of them. Whatever happened to him, hopefully he'll be able to make a good recovery now that the tyres are up to temperature. Jamil Gummer making a visit to pit lane there. Evidently the contact that he ended up catching was a little bit too much for him. He already had some damage on the car before that as well, I saw from the rear end view of the car he was battling with before. So that's a bit out of sequence there for Jamil Gummer. Unsure whether or not he'll be able to get to the end on fuel there, as it looks like a car is around. I think that might have been Crane who was turned on the exit of turn 2. Not entirely sure, but Michael Clark is going to make the move there on Joshua Travis at a corner where we don't often see passes. That was brave.
Well, when you go and be a hard charger like Michael Clark, you go and make the passes wherever you please. But I have a feeling it may have been Robert Bison Jr. and something big has happened further through the grid. Let's find out exactly what happened here. Brian's in, Ben Malik, and Matt Hollinger all involved.
Oh dear. Oh dear. The Porsche getting on the brakes early for the hairpin, and that resulted in a big crush for everyone behind. Brian Zinn ultimately making contact with the Mustang and spinning him around there. Got back up to speed, but that certainly resulted in some chopping and changing in those positions for around about 13th or so. Dustin Warren, the Porsche in question, who slowed down quite early for the hairpin. He's got quite a bit of damage to the rear as well, so that is another early pit stop there. Dustin Warren, who's at the moment was leading the bronze class, I believe, but will not now. The bronze lead then falls to Tucker Minter, I believe.
Yeah, fair play to him. That's definitely a, with Jack Minter, ladies and gentlemen, who has indeed taken over the bronze class. I wondered who Tucker was, but there you go. Fair play. He's got a nickname now. Tucker Minter is indeed what he shall be dubbed. No. I'm going to stop you there, Zippy. There is another driver on iRacing by the name of Tucker Minter. So I got him confused with him. No nicknames in that circumstance. Okay. Free for all otherwise. Well, I tried to make him feel part of the crew, but it's fair to say Jack Minter in a class of his own, ladies and gentlemen. Right now, Tommy Polte is indeed having a battle here. Whoa! I'm glad I'm not that cameraman. That's indeed Kerry Corcoran, Andrew Garove, and Tommy Polte. These 3 camera-equipped drivers are all battling out for P18 overall. It's a silver versus 2 bronze, and actually the bronze is permanently for P2, P3, as Tommy Polte almost gifted there by Andrew Garove as he indeed tries to make a pass.
Looks like Polte gets a bit of run out of the hairpin, but they're going to keep that drag race going side by side on the way down to the final chicane. This is one of those sequences where you do not want to go side by side. How brave is Tommy Polte going to be on the brakes? Not as brave as Andrew Garov, but Garov clatters over the curb on the exit, collects a little bit of the wall of champions there. I think he might have gotten a slowdown from that. Yes, he has. So Yes, that's unfortunate there. Polte is going to complete the move and get a little bit of a gap over the BMW as well. So with that done, another big thing has happened for Amrit Vestrala. He actually had a spin just a few moments ago. He was right there with Pierce Fox and Kevin Rosario, but unfortunately will not see anything thanks to that little spin out of the hairpin. Caught a bit of the curb. Yeah, it seems like these cold track temperatures are resulting in very snappy rear ends for everyone.
Yeah, definitely a few drivers getting caught and stuck, and I wonder if that's exactly what happened to Robert Bison Jr. Don't get me wrong. Oh, that's a little dip in the grass. That may have just been enough. Yep, locks up very slightly, but fair play to him. Well controlled there, Robert, and able to get that car back on track.
Yeah, well recovered indeed. That could have been a lot worse. So Amrit Vestrala now finds himself back in P10, and we'll see if he can work things out from there. First pitter from the front of the field, Artis Veldra, the reigning champion of the series, defending champion, has come into the pits.
Well, fair play to him. It looks like Ryan's in trying to do leapfrog past this lap traffic there. He's going to bring Matt Hollinger with him, and I believe Cody Hagan will be keen to try and get by as well. Then the McLaren on the right-hand side is lap traffic, and sadly not. Hollinger was held up by there. Good news there for Cody Hagan. Something that's happened to Chris Crone as well. He's had an accident, but lap traffic there definitely causing a little bit of turbulence here around Montreal.
Yeah, it's John Hamrick in the McLaren who, oh dear, there's contact there between John Hamrick and Matt Jones. Oh dear, and it looks like Jones is going to have to wait for the rest of the field to go by. He's going to tow back to pit lane. That is a real shame. There was no way Jones was making the apex there. Just braked way too late. Was probably hoping to get past the McLaren so he wasn't held up, but ultimately ends up costing him everything. That's a real shame there. The battle, meanwhile, continuing between Kevin Rosario and Pierce Fox. This is for 7th and 8th, and it's for the lead. It's for second place in silver as well. So there's some good points on offer for these drivers. Does the Mustang have anything for the BMW in a straight line?
I gotta admit, if I'm going by paint jobs, I'm 100% going for that BMW at Pierce Fox, but fair play. Kevin Rosario is absolutely grabbing attention there. He is using every tool in the tool belt to try and get Pierce Fox shaken and stirred, but apparently Pierce Fox able to hold on. Have a look at the lap times as well. These guys are pretty evenly balanced. Fastest lap, Rosario is quicker by about 0.3 of a second, but last lap alone, 0.02 of a second between them.
A very close matchup between these two drivers. I'm really enjoying this fight, and Kevin Rosario, a little bit cheeky there, letting Pierce Fox know, yes, I am still here if my bright yellow car didn't give it away.
Yeah, definitely he's up there. Is Andrew Garov looking to try and apply a little bit more pressure? We have to tell us, is it Garov or Garov? By all means, Andrew, give us a little bit of a shout out in the Discord after the show. You want a better copy on it, Reese?
And what if we're both wrong and it's Harove?
It could happen, in which case we'll have a shot. Actually, speaking of having a shot, ladies and gentlemen, if you are indeed friends with CJ Cochran on Facebook, I had the pleasure of watching him perform in a bar out in Tennessee. I didn't get to fly to Tennessee, but I did indeed get to watch the show as he live streamed it on Facebook, and he even took requests. It's Kevin Rosario. That was not a request, that was a demand. Shoves it up on the inside, and right now he is ahead, but only just. Pierce Fox is fighting side by side, ladies and gentlemen. These guys are almost side by side. I do have to wonder, is Pierce Fox going to be better off getting in the draft? No, he's going to keep a nose in. He's slowly creeping, edging, trying to pull himself forward. He's going to be first to the apex, and yes, he has indeed regained that position. Top work there between these two drivers.
Yeah, wow, they barely gave each other an inch. Amrit Vestrala behind them, meanwhile, has come into the pits. I think a wise decision after his spin. Make sure you get your stop out of the way and focus towards the end of the race. It's just going to be fuel only in this series. The tires on GT3 cars end up lasting a long time, so there's really no need to change them at the pit stop. It'll actually be quite a disadvantage in a race as short as this. So, let's see. who is next into lane as we keep our eyes on Brian Zinn here, who's got Matt Hollinger right behind him, and Hollinger looking quite aggressive here. Hollinger is up 3 places from where he started. Brian Zinn up 2. Of course, we need to keep in mind a couple of those positions will be due to cars ahead of them pitting, so keep an eye out for them as the battle continues between Pierce Fox and Kevin Rosario. These guys are not leaving each other alone. Are we going to see another dive from Rosario at the hairpin? I don't think he's close enough.
Yeah, certainly. I love the aggression I'm seeing out of Rosario. There's a little bit of a wiggle on the grapes. On the grapes? Ladies and gentlemen, let's get some wine going. A little bit of a wiggle on the grapes. I'm going to trademark that, screw it. A little bit of a wiggle there on the brakes. And we do have a suggestion here from Jake Enns as well. He says, if we're both wrong, we can buy him a coffee. All right. I'm down.
Fair enough. Two coffees coming the way of Jake Enns then. Have a look at that. There's some bump drafting going on and a little bit of sliding between Rosario and Fox. Kevin, I think, was hoping that that Fox would go back to the racing line before the hairpin, but he didn't, and these guys are more than willing to wind up this aggression a bit here as Fox carries a lot of speed through turn 1, and he almost taps the BMW around again. This is the kind of aggression that we really love to see. Hopefully, though, it stays clean. They are losing time a little bit now. They are catching up as well to, actually they have passed Reed Lincoln, the leader of their class, who has just come into the pits.
Well, I gotta think at this point, as much as I love the paint job of Pierce Fox, you may want to put an exterminator on there, because indeed Kevin Rosario has been nothing but a pest for him this race. Indeed, don't get me wrong, I'm not calling the guy rode him, but I love the fact that the gloves are indeed off, and indeed the bumper appears to be off there and reattached. Thank you, iRacing, for that. But like, if I'm looking at it purely on iRating basis, like, these guys are pretty evenly matched. There's only 342 iRating difference between them. In other words, one official race. What a stand from Rosario. And look who's come to play as well. Brian Zinn and Matt Hollinger. Mr. Zinn, you've now been promoted to camera car, sir, if these guys keep going at it.
Well, Kevin Rosario certainly believes he's much faster than Pierce Fox, otherwise he wouldn't be going for those moves, and it turns out it's worked out for him this time. He parked it on the apex of the hairpin and refused to allow Fox to get a move back on him. We'll see if his prediction on pace, or at least what he's implied, is true. Brian Zinn, the next one to come up on the BMW of Fox, who it seems...
that was too close.
That's very deep. That was too close there. And it looks like he backs out of it. Man, Pierce Fox has been through it today, hasn't he?
Oh, yeah, I mean, he is definitely not getting no freebies there. If he wants second place in class, he's going to have to work for it. As that looked like Brian Zinn absolutely dragging the back end of Beyonce right along that wall. We decided to name his BMW Beyonce for this argument's sake. But right now, looks like Artis Veldra and indeed Miguel Colon have picked up slowdowns, ladies and gentlemen, and that has enabled Chris Krohn to make his way past the championship contender Miguel Colon.
Yeah, certainly has. Chris Krohn with a great qualifying performance, and he's translating into a great race performance as well. We'll see Miguel Colon clear this slowdown, and man, the slowdowns at Montreal are brutal, honestly. You run over the curbs at this chicane here, and Yep, right there. That's going to be a 2-second slowdown that Artis Veldra is going to have to give up here. And since he's come into the pits, the Latvian has had a lot of trouble keeping the pace up. He's going to try and protect it through the hairpin wide there for Jack Minter, and that will allow Reed Lincoln back through. Lincoln and Veldra have pitted. Minter has not, as we see Pierce Fox and Matt Hollinger make their way into pit lane. They were involved in that very close fight and they want to get out of it. Lincoln, meanwhile, under pressure there from Jack Minter. And now Kerry Corcoran and Michael Pacheco are going to join the fight here just outside the top 10.
Yeah, Kerry's definitely working hard. I've seen himself and Pacheco go hard into battle on numerous occasions. Actually, got to say, fair play to Kerry Corcoran. He is frequently in the battle, as that is very blatantly on the defensive line there. I'm sorry, but the McLaren, the number 25 of Michael Pacheco, was not being given a freeway by him there, and I can't say I blame him in the slightest. It's Dustin Warren currently serving a slowdown as well, but it looks like the action is getting even closer further up the field. Kerry Corker in there onto the back. I believe that's lap traffic there. Very quick to get up and out the way as he is very much under pressure from the number 25 car of Pacheco. This is the battle for the third podium spot in silver.
Yes, indeed. The Mustang that they just made their way past is Robert Bison, who has just come out of pit lane. So he's still getting up to speed. Very close fighting when you're coming out of the pits amongst the cars that are trying to pass you is not an ideal position to be in. And so I think Robert Bison should be credited for keeping his head in that particular circumstance. So Brian's in. And Kevin Rosario here. Haven't pitted yet, running 7th and 8th at the moment. But Rosario, in the lead of silver for the moment, takes the entry to pit lane. Brian Zinn is going to continue on for an extra lap. Now, how is this going to affect Rosario versus Reed Lincoln? Now,
Pierce.
Pierce Fox.
I did the same thing.
Well, no, yeah, but we got to think about Reed Lincoln as well, because he's going to be competing for the lead of that silver class. So let's see how it works out. Lincoln, having already come into the pits, is going to come out in the lead of silver by quite some margin. Rosario gets going again, and where is Pierce Fox? Just making his way through turns 1 and 2 now. But if you come out of the pits there, it's basically straight lining back onto the circuit. And have a look at that there for Kevin Rosario. He is now well ahead, and he's got Amrit Vestrala right ahead of him as well. Vestrala struggling a little bit for consistency here today. I've got to wonder how hard of a battle the Mustang's going to give him.
Yeah, I got a feeling Amrit is not going to pull over. This could be an opportunity here for Pierce Fox to get back in that battle. It's right behind him. It looks like Matt Hollinger is keen to get in on the action as well. Got to admit, a good couple of nice paints there. It looks like Hollinger took the fast repair while he was in the pits as well, as he is indeed applying a healthy amount of pressure to the side and indeed the back of that number 24. Pierce Fox just unable to catch a break today.
Yeah, indeed. He's had cars harassing him from the back all the way through. Meanwhile, move for Michael Clark, making his way past Dustin Warren. That's the battle for 18th overall at the moment. Worth pointing out that Clark has not come into the pits yet. He's still trying to make some kind of recovery in his Lamborghini. Jamil Gummer, meanwhile, one of the first to pit, is a little bit further back from that in 20th place as things stand. No, 19th, my apologies. Matt Hollinger, 15th place for him. Let's see if he manages to make his way past Pierce Fox here. A little bit slower into the chicane for the BMW, and Hollinger avoids the curbs there, but Pierce Fox, it would appear, has translated that into a bit of slow in, fast out. Excellent run onto the start-finish straight. But Hollinger has been looking aggressive, as has quite a few of the drivers in this field today.
Yeah, I gotta say, for pure aggression, it's got to go to this man, Kevin Rosario. He was not hanging around. He's got that newly repaired Mustang, and it looks like Amrit Vestrala is starting to pull away. It's a 1.8 second gap between himself and Pierce Fox. You can see why he was trying so hard as Hollinger there, absolutely mowing the grass a little bit there on the inside of that corner. I got a feeling it's going to be the big battle. Oh, as they say that, what is going on further up the field? Andrew Garov, or indeed Garov, or indeed Garove, depending on how exotic we want to get, ladies and gentlemen. It's definitely had a little bit of an incident there as he's just fallen back from the field, and now Pierce Fox applying the pressure as well.
Yes, so unfortunate there for Andrew. Pierce, meanwhile, gets on the power, and his Porsche, his fellow German car there of Matt Hollinger, still right with him there. And Hollinger seems very confident on the brakes, it has to be said. Look at the run that he gets into the hairpin. The run out is more important, though. And it seems that Pierce Fox has done enough to cover him, and now he'll have the benefit of some slipstream from his fellow BMW of Andrew Garov. This is going to be interesting here coming up to the chicane. These three cars all in a line. Gently does it on your way down to the braking zone. Yes. Oh, is that Hollinger going for the move? No. Oh, almost. Garov goes into the pit lane as Matt Hollinger moves Pierce Fox out of the way there. I think a bit of rubbing in the final chicane.
Yeah, I got to see that again. That looked like a lot was going on.
So half a look up the inside there from Hollinger. I think that unsettled Fox there. Slight contact on the way into the corner. And Hollinger gets the move done on the exit. So that's going to be position made for the moment. Hollinger will get the position in the short term. And yeah, that just goes to show how close it is there. It's coming off the curb. I got to say, well done to Pierce Fox for holding on to that one. If it were me in that car, I would have 100% put it in the wall there. Oh, speaking of putting it in the wall.
Oof.
Who was that?
Matt Jones, potentially.
Yeah,
we'll hold that thought for a second here. Dalton Oxford and indeed Reed Lincoln are now battling it out here for P6 overall. Reed Lincoln currently leading the silver class. Michael Pacheco, don't get me wrong, he's yet to go down pit road. So realistically, he's a little bit further down than he currently says he is in the standings. But right now, Reed Lincoln, he's got a good couple of cars gap between himself and Kevin Rosario, and indeed a good buffer, about 10 seconds roughly. But right now, nothing is stopping him as he's going toe-to-toe with Dalton Oxford, one of the league organizers, ladies and gentlemen, as Miguel Galan and Doug Sorrentino bring it down pit road.
Yes, our race leader Joshua Wilford has already come into the pits, a lap and a bit ago, and the fight is going to continue here between Lincoln and Oxborough. Reed Lincoln gets up the inside at turn 1, but Oxborough will defend around the outside in turn 1, which becomes the inside for turn 2. Lincoln tries a little over-under, a little bit of grass for the BMW. Is this going to be where the move is made? We've seen plenty of passes in this chicane. It doesn't always work out, and that's the reason why you got to start turning left at some point. And unfortunately, Dalton Oxborough had to take the tight line on the way in there. So position traded, but not without some contact. Reed Lincoln now has a bit more of a battered Mercedes than he wants.
I got to admit, I do think he got away with that for the most part. He definitely would have had a bit of a bump, but fair play to him. But the problem he's got right now is Doug Sorrentino is going into the battle. And I do think there may be a little bit of damage there on the right front of this Mercedes. It's quite hard to see. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you can see there's a little bit of an arrow there just above the front spoiler. On the right, it's not present.
Interesting. Well, a little bit of a dunk there in the hairpin. Got to keep an eye out for Doug Sorrentino as well. Thanks to that little coming together, both of them have lost time to the number 69, who's fresh out of pit lane and looking to gain a couple more places. As far as I'm aware, looks like Quinn Manders is the only driver that hasn't come in for a pit stop yet. He did come through the pits before, like 18 laps ago or something like that. But I don't know if that was necessarily for service. Once again, into the first turn there, Lincoln tries on Oxborough, and this time he gets alongside on the exit, and Oxborough spins on the way out of turn 2. That takes off Reed Lincoln's front bumper, and Doug Sorrentino is now right with them, gets up the inside of the BMW and gets the move done in time for the left-hander. And now could be another position on the cards here. Reed Lincoln, the leader of silver, is damaged. Got to wait and see if that affects his pace.
Yeah, he's got to hold on for another 8.5 minutes, Reese. I mean, don't get me wrong. He's got a little bit of a advantage over Kevin Rosario. It's roughly about 10 or so seconds, but don't quote me on the map page. Actually, I got the map right here. Let's have a quick look here. Oh dear, it's only about 5 seconds. Oh dear, he really better try and hold on.
Yeah, we've got to be careful. So Sorrentino on the headlight flash, doing his best to make sure that he has an easy job of getting by Reed Lincoln. He's clearly looking quick here. Lincoln's best lap is a 134.8 though. Sorrentino's best lap a 134.9. So it looks like these guys are actually quite close on pace. Sorrentino's going to have to work for this one.
He is indeed. As there you go, at the request of Jay Kens, we now have a couple more grid spots available on the display. Yeah, let us know in the chat actually if you think we should keep it at 30. It is quite a lot. Reese, give me your opinion on that as well. But
I don't mind it.
When you got a 50-car grid, ladies and gentlemen, there's only so much real estate we can get there on the screen.
Indeed. I think 30 is a nice round number though, so we should be okay with that. Oh dear, Dustin Warren and Jamil Gummer have both collected black flags. I think that might be for either incident limit or not clearing slowdowns in time. So both of those drivers are going to have to come through to the pits. Dustin Warren, the leader of the bronze class. So that's going to be far from ideal for him. Yeah, you can see Gummer trying to clear that slowdown, but ultimately, is that in slow-mo? Yeah, that replay's in slow-mo. So looks like this is where he's going to pick it up there. Oh dear. Yeah. That's going to be a loss of control 2x, and I think that would have put Jamil Gummer over the incident limit. Threading the needle, the 44 of Dustin Warren, and I think that is what gave him his black flag as well for exceeding the incident limit. A little bit of contact with Gummer. Meanwhile, Vestrala going at it here with Brian Zinn, who's managed to find his way through into 9th place. Kevin Rosario not too far behind. And for the moment, it looks to me like Reed Lincoln might be safe from Kevin Rosario. There's about 6 seconds between them. And at the moment, Lincoln's laps, they seem to be about a second slower than Rosario. There's only about 3 laps to go. 4 laps to go for these guys. So I think if he can keep the pace up, he should be safe. But we know that chaos reigns sometimes in this series.
Yeah, for sure. Certainly it can be a little bit boom or bust. Right now, Amrit Vestrala is applying a good amount of pressure there to the back of Brian Zinberg. I've got to say, I'm really looking forward to see what Kevin Rosario can do. He's had absolutely incredible aggression today. I love the battle between himself and Piers Fox. Probably my favorite one we've seen so far this season. But can he continue to make his way up through the field? Don't get me wrong, for class points, it is quite a gap there to Kevin Rosario. As that smoke, Vestrala's gone around.
Oh, he has, and that is at the... Oh, careful reversing there. Manages to get it going, though. That's on the exit of the second chicane. And that's a place that we've seen plenty of spins before. Sorrentino, then, has plenty of difficulties here with Dalton Oxborough right behind him. Reed Lincoln not too far ahead. And it looks to me like Lincoln, despite the damage he's carrying, has been able to gap Sorrentino. So maybe a bit of a false alarm there. He may be missing his front bumper, but he's still holding on to that silver lead.
Yeah, the open concept Mercedes is the first time I think we've had one of those. And not only that, it's doing quite well. I guess Oasis Simsport, it is literally, is it Oasis Sim Racing maybe? I know it's Oasis, all right? I mean, he should put it as his team name, but Oasis Sim Machine, ladies and gentlemen. Clearly, there is an Oasis going on with that car because perhaps it does actually have a front bumper and it's just an Oasis that's, you know, we can't see it. Terrible pun.
Indeed. Yes. That was
on both counts.
Yes. Into the pit for you. Robert Bison, meanwhile, has had a spin, unfortunately. Bison has had a very rough race, and he had already lost his rear wing at the point that he had that spin. He's just been trying his best to continue on with a damaged car, but lost the rear end coming into the second chicane. So, unfortunate there for Bison. He has not had a fun time. I think there's quite a few drivers who would agree with that assessment for their own race. Scheusler letting a bunch of cars go there. I think he might have picked up a slowdown at the chicane before that. But that remains to be seen. Bison, meanwhile, trying his best to make his way back to pit lane. Doug Sorrentino still managing to keep Dalton Oxborough behind him. It's been a good run from Sorrentino, up 4 positions as things stand. Matt Hollinger rounding out your top 10 after starting in 15th place. Still not quite second place in silver yet, but he will be putting the pressure on Kevin Rosario over these last 2 laps.
Yeah, I've got to admit, I'm interested to see what Rosario can do in terms of defense. We know he's got the attack in his roster, but the Porsche generally a little bit more nimble, a little bit better on the brakes. Now, is that going to be enough for him? As oh no, Doug Sorrentino's picked up a slowdown, and that is going to end his battle there with Dalton Oxborough. But does this mean Brian Zinn can capitalize on this opportunity as well? With just 2.5 minutes left of this race, the slowdown has been cleared by Sorrentino, but is Brian Zinn now going to be able to leapfrog his way up into P7 overall?
From 13th, that would be a very good run up for Brian Zinn. So let's see what he's got here. Porsche versus BMW. I think Sorrentino might have picked up a slight bit of damage to his left front as well, so that might affect his performance a little bit. Another car spun on the exit of the chicane there. That's Robert Bison once more. He's trying his best to limp his way to the finish, but I think that car might need repairs at this point.
Yeah, had a crash warning from Miguel Colon as well. Everything does appear to be fine with his car. I gotta say, Chris Krohn, this is the best result we've seen out of him so far, but he's not been in the battles, and yet there is definitely some damage on the left front corner of the 69 Porsche of Doug Sorrentino. It's fair to say Barbie's been beaten, ladies and gentlemen, and right now Brian's in looking to try and make his way up and ahead of that Marvel, well, again, I think it's Marvel-inspired, oh no, Mattel, my apologies, Mattel branded machine.
Just behind them as well, Kevin Rosario and Matt Hollinger. A little bit of a jerk to the left there from Rosario as Hollinger tries to make up some time into the braking zone. Doesn't work on the run through the chicane though, so I think Rosario's going to be safe for now. Sorrentino is not safe from Brian Zinn. Let's see then what the first sector is like for these two cars. I suppose these four in the end. Brian Zinn has had an excellent run up through the field, but Doug Sorrentino as well has managed to be incredibly consistent in this race. Usually known for working his way up through fields, but recently he's had some good qualifying performances. Rosario, oh, hello. That is Hollinger getting into the wall as well. And far from ideal there. Could be a late move to the inside. No, not quite. Brian Zinn is going to stay back here, as it looks like Joshua Wilford is going to come across the line here to start the final lap. And this is going to be a great performance here for our championship leader. Sorrentino having to go defensive. And oh no, Rosario comes in and turns around Brian Zinn. Oh dear. Brian, who has had so much pressure from behind this race, finally gets turned around. And Kevin Rosario will be granted another position out of that, but at what cost? Cody Haygood also up for grabs here, as he is now catching up to the recovering Brian Zinn. So this coming on to the final lap. The dying stages of this race have proved just as chaotic as everything else.
I gotta admit, I do feel that Zinn got a bit of a raw deal in that scenario. Fair play. I get why Rosario went for the move. The door was open, but the door was indeed closing. But right now, it's going to be the battle of three different cars, two different makes. It's Porsche, Ford, and indeed Porsche again. Is really is the steak in the sandwich, ladies and gentlemen. But what can Rosario do? He's been very aggressive, not just today, but generally throughout the whole season. And right now, Doug Sorrentino, the masterclass of passing, he's run wide, and that was almost gifted there. It looks like Hollinger wants a piece of the action as well. Rosario just able to slide in there. Sorrentino perhaps carrying a little bit of damage there, a little bit of door banging there alongside Hollinger. This could be absolutely catastrophic there as Jamil Gullah picks up a slowdown as well. Oh!
Let's get our leader coming across the line, Zippy. Wilford coming across the line to win in dominant fashion here at Montreal. We barely gave him any airtime. He was so far ahead. Chris Krohn gets second place ahead of Miguel Colon. A fantastic performance there and massive points in the Mustang for Chris Krohn. Doug Sorrentino, it seems, has broken free of those clutches, or has Hollinger broken free of the clutches of Sorrentino? Well, that's going to sort out 8th place there. Cody Haygood, meanwhile, falling back a little bit from Brian Zinn. Michael Pacheco sees Darwin Hansen up ahead, and the question is, will the McLaren be able to break into the top 14 with, looks like a good exit for Darwin Hansen. I don't imagine there's going to be much more to say from that. Callan Christian and Philip Crane making a slight bit of contact in that chicane as well. Those guys are fighting hard for positions further down the field, 22nd and 23rd, as more cars come across the line. Amrit Vestrala, it seems, has had a problem in the final couple of corners. He's just fallen from 13th to 17th, and Darwin Hansen has fallen down as well. Is this a spin out of the final chicane for Emirates Vestrala? Is it a slowdown for too much curb? Oh, it's a spin.
Dump it in reverse. Yeah, attaboy.
Yep, there we go. All right, he's going to get that one turned around and just avoid getting into the barriers. But, man, that's quite a few missed opportunities for Emirates Vestrala. And it looks like a slowdown, actually, for, I think that's Darwin Hansen. Yes, so unfortunately, just before the line, he ends up losing out to Tommy Polte. Okay, yeah, he is out of fuel. Not enough taken at the pit stop. So he ends up losing positions to Tommy Polte as well. Goodness me. What an interesting finish to this race, I suppose.
Oh my gosh, he was still cruising there as well. How far back has this guy been cruising? I got to find it. I'm sorry. The curiosity is too much.
All right, well, I suppose it would have been out of the hairpin at the latest. Darwin Hansen probably using a bit more fuel than he would have ideally liked, and he gets up into 5th, into 6th. He's
Splatter.
The car's going to choke here, and then there's nothing he can do. I think by this point the car is well and truly out of fuel.
Well, fair play to him. You know what? They say you should never finish a race with any parts left over, and it's fair to say he did indeed succeed in doing that, just maybe overkilled it a little bit. But what an absolutely fantastic race that was.
Certainly was. It was won by Joshua Wilford by 10.7 seconds. Incredible stuff. Chris Krohn will finish on the podium. A fantastic qualifying turning into a great race. Miguel Colon gets onto the podium after qualifying 5th. Artis Veldra finishes where he started in 4th. Would have been interesting to see what he could do pitting early, but unfortunately those slowdowns put that to the wayside. Reed Lincoln wins in silver. Got Dalton Oxborough in between himself and Kevin Rosario. Matt Hollinger completing the silver podium. And then we have Doug Sorrentino and Brian Zinn rounding out your top 10.
As we have a look there at P11, it's Cody Haygood alongside Ben Malik in 12th. Michael Pacheco able to hold on to 13th with Kerry Corcoran in 14th. Dustin Warren, despite that incident, able to take the bronze class win. Don't get me wrong. Well achieved there with Jack Minter right behind in 16th overall. And with Estrella, an expensive mistake in that final chicane got him 17th with Tommy Polte in 18th. Darwin Hansen in 19th and Jamil Gummer rounding out your top 20.
In 21st place, it was Clark there, who made a fantastic recovery. Michael Clark trying his best to get back into 14th, had to settle for 21st in the end. We have, goodness me, I'm trying to find my place. Philip Crane and Callan Christian finishing behind him, and Callan Christian, the first driver, a lap down, joined by Quinn Manders, Sean Phillips, Joshua Travis, Chris Scheusler, Matt Jones, Richard Pettit, and Cairo Enns, all drivers that had plenty of issues in this one. 2 laps down for Andrew Garov and Jason Hatcher. Pierce Fox ultimately finishing 3 laps down. That is a massive blow for Pierce Fox, who was involved in so many battles today. Robert Bison ending his race limping to the finish, and it looks like Conklin, Martin, and Hamrick were not able to find their way to the finish at all. This has certainly been an interesting race, hearing that Michael Clark started from pit lane, so that explains things a little bit. Okay, so it's time to have a chat to our drivers here today, and I would presume that Joshua... No, we're going to go for Reed Lincoln first, who ends up winning the silver class. Fantastic result for you, Reed. I got to say, that qualifying performance was stonking as well. Montreal seemed to smile on you today.
The Merc likes it here. I don't know what it is with the Merc in Canada, but it was very favorable, and I liked it a lot.
Yeah, pretty cool track conditions as well, which it seems a lot of drivers were struggling with in the early stages.
Yeah, it is super easy to lose the back end early on, getting the tires up to temp. There's quite a few hard crank turns, and if you get on the gas just a quick too early, it's gone. So trying to damage limitation in the early stages, pick up pace as we move down, but no, it felt good. I'm glad that I don't have to be the guy that has the most second place finishes for a season.
Of course, of course. Still a great points haul there with an overall top 5, and I get the feeling you're going to be carrying that forward to the last 2 rounds. We go to Indianapolis next. Do you think the Mercedes is going to go good there? It's a similar-ish track to Montreal, not much in the way of elevation changes, and quite a few high-load flowing corners.
It is going to be an interesting one due to the fact I have no experience with Indy, so it's going to be a green track for me. We'll see how it goes.
All right, well, we wish you the best of luck for that, Reed. Thank you very much for joining us, and congratulations on grabbing that silver dub.
Appreciate you guys.
That's Reed Lincoln there, our silver class winner. Gold class winner Joshua Wilford stood by with Zippy after a dominant performance.
Well, I've got to say, Josh, it's a pleasure having you in the booth, but in total honesty, we didn't really see you much during this race. You just, obviously, Montreal, when you got on pretty good then.
It's so good to be back with you boys in the booth, I can't lie. It's been a while, boys.
Well,
that was a difficult race, guys? It's a very tricky track.
Well, it definitely does indeed have its challenges. The walls can be very unforgiving. Certainly yourself able to skirt away from them. Got a nice clean start. Started in first. Managed to hold on to first. But we're heading to Indianapolis for the next round. How do you feel about that particular venue?
The Aston's been struggling recently in a straight line. I know when it comes to racing against the Mustangs and the Mercedes, it's like 2-3 kilometers down on the straights. But I think the rest of the season, having Sebring and Indy coming up next, I think I'll be okay because you need downforce at those tracks. And fortunately for me, maybe I'm 2-3 Ks an hour down at the straights, but I'm good in the corners. So I'm looking forward to the next 2 races.
Well, fair play, Josh. I'm not going to disagree with you by any means. You are much, much quicker than I am, and indeed leading the championship for gold, which is pretty much, I mean, it goes without saying, it takes a lot of achievement. And not only that, you had a great battle with Artis Veldra at the close of the last season as well. But Josh, is there anybody you'd like to shout out for today's performance?
Yeah, definitely the guys at Podium 1, CJ and Darwin, for putting this all together. I mean, this is an ultra competitive league. We've had 7 or 8 races now, and every race is at a different winner with different outcomes at the end. And I think it's just awesome what they're doing. And shout out to my teammate Dalton. Shout out to my friends and family watching. Thank you guys. And yeah, thank you to you guys for hosting such an awesome live stream.
Well, I've got to say a huge thank you to yourself as well, Josh, and indeed to Podium 1. But I've got to admit, I mean, for us, it's easier to commentate if you guys have great racing action. And I've got to say, every week you guys deliver, so a huge thank you to yourself for that. And sorry we didn't get you doing too much on today's show. You literally went ahead, and there was people battling. It's fair to say you were on form today, bud.
Took the kids to school and went home for a coffee.
Well, we're going to have to use that one in the broadcast. Josh, great catching up with you, and congratulations
Thanks,
again
guys.
on the overall win there, Josh.
Thanks, guys. Have a great evening.
All right, fantastic stuff from Joshua Wilford there. We can welcome Dustin Warren to the box as well, taking the win in the bronze class. It looks to me like that was quite a competitive one for you, Dustin, but it wasn't without its adventures.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. End up having to have the drive through there, and otherwise I probably would have been close to the top 10, but it happens. Luckily I was still able to come out with a win. And it was a great week all in all, even with the drive through.
Yeah, indeed. You picked up that drive through, I presume, for incident limit?
Yeah, I had a driver. I have to go back and look at the replay. There was somebody that kept I guess thinking it was NASCAR, give me a little bump draft in there, and those 4Xs add up pretty quick. So yeah, that wasn't fun, but it's okay. We live and we learn. We move on to next week, right?
Yeah, certainly. And with the maximum points from the bronze class, it's looking like a good setup for the last couple of rounds. Indianapolis and Sebring, 2 very different tracks that we go to for the end of the season. The only thing they've got in common with each other and this track is that they don't have any hills.
Right, yeah. Yeah, actually 2 different parts of the U.S. It's basically like we're starting in Canada up here in the north, and we just keep going further south, getting slicker all the while. So, it'll be fun.
Yeah, it certainly will. Well, congratulations, Dustin. Despite your issues, still a great drive and getting the result there in bronze. So congratulations, and hopefully we'll see you next time.
All right, thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, Dustin Warren will celebrate his victory, and Tommy Poulty will celebrate his third place in bronze. Tommy, you were right in the thick of a lot of that action, especially early on. This track, despite being an F1 circuit, can get quite cramped when there's 37 GT3 cars going around.
Yeah, it can, no doubt about it. It was fun. Yeah, that was actually a lot of fun. I just tried to stick with those faster guys in the beginning, and yeah, all in all, it was clean. I think I came away with them. I think I had 1X only, so it was fun. At like the last 4 laps, we had Warren came out of pit right in front of me and Minter, so I was hoping us 3 would be able to battle, but we had a lap car that kind of slowed us down.
Yeah, lap traffic was a bit of a factor here today, but also, I got to say, props for only getting one incident. They're very easy to pick up around here, aren't they?
Yeah, no doubt about it. Like Warren said, I mean, he had 14 just from getting tapped from people. So, yeah, I was proud of myself for that one, no doubt.
Excellent stuff. Well, a podium once again in the bronze class. That's going to continue your run at near the top of those standings. So I think all up, it's been a great season for you. Still a couple of rounds to go, though.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. And I need to practice Indy. I'm a little bit better at Sebring just because I've raced it more. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the finish. It's been a great season with these guys. First time here, so it's been fun.
Absolutely. Well, for your first time in this league, yeah, certainly some great performances there, Tommy. Congratulations, and we'll see you again next week, I'm sure.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
Oh, Tommy Poulty there in third place in bronze. A fantastic performance once again. He's always there some way or another. Zippy, I understand that is the conclusion of the broadcast, and wow, I mean, what a round it was.
It was an absolute belt. I gotta say, Montreal, despite being a Canadian track, it's not on the Princess approved track list. I've always struggled there to get pace, but fair play, it delivered on the action. We saw beautiful battles going on. I gotta say, a shout out to Pierce Fox and indeed to where's his name? Kevin Rosario. That was, without doubt, for me, the best battle we've seen so far this season. It was absolutely incredible. I did have a look through, try and work out what happened to Pierce Fox. I'm looking through again. Reese, by all means, fill me in here if there's something I've missed, but it was absolutely incredible. Like, I'm not quite sure what happened to Pierce Fox.
Yeah, that's interesting. Maybe it was incident limit potentially, and getting a black flag like really late on, that would have had some time added to the end of his race, but surely not like 2 laps worth. I think that's going to be a mystery that we'll have to update you all on for our next show in the Podium 1 GT3 Fixed Series. That is going to be at Indianapolis in a week's time. A very challenging circuit once again, and one where the slipstream is going to reign supreme. I think we're going to have a great time there. But here on Pit Road Productions, we want to thank you all for watching, and wherever you've come from, yeah, we do appreciate your patronage. My name is Reese Gardner, Daniel Zippy Salmon alongside me in the comms box. From both of us in here, we thank Podium 1 and all the associated partners and sponsors for putting this series on, and for the drivers for giving us an excellent show. We'll see you next week for the penultimate round of this incredible championship.